How you doing, everyone? I've got a dilemma. As far as dilemma is concerned, it's not big. It's probably about this big, but it's something I've been sort of pondering for a little while. So I'm hoping that maybe you guys can help out with my decision here. So it's related to this big old girl, my '89 Suburban. So my issue at the moment is particularly the low beam headlights. Now these things are getting pretty old. All the chrome and reflector, especially at the bottom, is all basically starting to deteriorate. It's been deteriorating for quite a while. It means the low beam, well, I'm pulling the switch sometimes just to make sure I've got my headlights on, because it just feels like they're not on at all. High beam's not so bad, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, I know what you're probably saying. It's just a standard rectangular bay lens, just get a new pair. Well, the ones we commonly see in Australia are like a 6x8, like 6x7 or 4x6. 4x6 bay, kind of what you see on like the 80 series Land Cruisers, and well, that's probably the common one that comes to my head anyway. These are not that size, okay, so they're actually slightly smaller. They're, well, where's my tape measure gone? Not bloody here. I've got a big long tape measure. So they're like, just the lens itself is like about 145mm by 85, something like that. So it's pretty small. And the problem with that is they only come out in a handful of vehicles, and I'll throw a list of all the vehicles that this size headlight come out on in the description below. So, you know, my way of thinking, what I'm going to discuss further on, is not just limited to these. It's an issue that's, well, it's not really an issue if you're outside North America, but yes, the problem is that in a right-hand drive lens, they're basically unavailable, period. Like, regardless of what option you want, they just don't exist. These low beams that I've got in there, they're a Bosch lens with a H4 bulb. So these ones have been sort of Australianised a little bit in my vehicle. So the outers are run a H4 bulb, so you can do high beam and low beam. They've been all wired up so that all four of them come on for the high beam. Standard, they're just a sealed beam here for the outers of the low beam, and they'll turn off when you go to high beams, and it'll just be your inner high beam lenses lit. The high beam lenses aren't too bad, but they're starting to get a bit worn out as well. They're still like the original sealed style. Beam pattern doesn't really matter to the high beam all that much. So what options do I have currently for this? Now, I have found some Bosch H4 lenses, but they are a high beam only pattern. So not ideal pattern, but really, to be honest, anything that I look at is not going to be ideal for Australia, because it's either going to be for a left-hand drive application or high beam. So that's option number one. I could just run with those on the outers and be done with it. To be honest, I like the look of the glass lens. It just kind of fits the error, and which I'll get to on a later option as well. Bosch lens, high beam pattern only, but I don't really have to do any modifications or anything, just screw them in and away I go. How that beam pattern turns out for other users, I don't know, and it is a concern for me. Option number two, LMC truck have, I think they're a polycarbonate lens. If you've got them previously, let me know in the comments, because yeah, they look like a polycarbonate lens, but maybe not. But they're the type that's a full clear lens, and the reflector does all the beam pattern. They seem like they're an okay improvement, but again, it's a left-hand drive beam pattern, which is not ideal for Australia. So anyway, it is what it is. The only factory sort of LED replacement I can find is a Gensi. To be honest with you, the beam pattern looks like it could work. Like, it seems like it's a fairly flat, doesn't have any any corners, edges heading up, but it seems fairly flat with the bolt of the beam in the centre. So some of these style LEDs, to be honest, they've got pretty crap performance, and I'm not 100% sure what these Gensies are like. I can't find too many reviews on them, and to be honest, they've got a what's called a D-shaped lens projector. They don't really look, the look of them I don't like, right? So they've got a black backing, so it would kind of look out of place on this on the front with so much chrome. If I replace the chrome grille for a factory one, which is predominantly black, they may fit in a bit more, and you know, like blacking out your indicator and parker, it'd maybe look okay. Yeah, but the overall look I'm not sold on, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know, it's just not something that I think would really suit. For some vehicles that have this style lens, they've got pop-up headlights, so you know, they probably work good on that when they're just hidden away and you don't ever see them unless you're driving at night. But for this, where they're kind of obvious, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. There is probably another option, which maybe I'll look at getting some manufactured and get a decent LED product out on the market. Probably a lot of time and research and stuff. I don't really have any contacts. I did reach out to George at Banging Headlights probably a year ago, just discussing this, and at the time he couldn't really help me. Maybe he might be able to help out with you know, how would I get something like this manufactured and whether it could actually work. I don't know. Could be a decent market to have a proper bay replacement lens out there on the market for these. Like I said, their market share versus like your traditional 7-inch round and the 4x6 is pretty small in comparison, but we don't really have any decent option. But I do have one other option, and it's probably the more expensive option, but it would be a future-proof thing, and that would be to convert the front of this to a 81 to 87 grille. The only problem with that is all the radiator support panel needs to be changed out because these are different with all the mounting for the headlight buckets. They have a traditional 4x6 headlight which is stacked. I'll throw a couple of images up of what they look like, but it would not only the radiator support panel, you need to do all the whole grille, all the headlight bezels, headlight buckets. Yeah, it's not a fair bit of work, but just bear in mind, like, this is not the US, so I can't just go and easily get second-hand stuff from a junkyard or Craigslist or whatever. These aren't all that common here. Yeah, I'll probably have like a radiator support panel. Probably just be easier to buy a brand new one. Probably same with all the grill, just reproduction grills, headlight buckets, yeah, all that. It will change the look of the front of the car, but I know the stacked headlights is not really the most popular look for the square bodies. Definitely the most popular look is the round eyes, but that would involve changing the bonnet as well, and yeah. So I'm kind of like to stick with the post 80 look, but yeah, that is another option. I don't know which way to go yet. I'm still trying to make up my mind and hoping you guys can provide a bit of feedback which way you think you do. I do like the idea of trying to get a decent LED for this, and because there's a lot of people out there who've still got these older vehicles and just don't have a decent option. Yeah, if I went down that way, I don't know how I'd go for getting some backing to do it, because it's not going to be the cheapest, and obviously if you get them manufactured, you obviously want to recoup the capital that you've spent to do it. So yeah, we'll see how we go. I need to do some investigation and see what we'll come up with. So yeah, thanks very much for listening to my little problem. If you've got any constructive advice, what you do, throw it in the comments below. Love to hear it. And don't forget to like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you really enjoy what I'm doing on my channel, please consider becoming a member. Dave, Byron, Rob, Jay, they've already done it. It greatly helps me continue doing what I'm doing, keeps my motivation up. So anyway, with all that said and done, thanks very much for watching.